But the hardest pill to swallow is the meantime.
Hey Taiwan, I'm Alessia Cara, and I'm chatting with Joey on ICRT FM 100.
Hello, ladies and gents and music aficionados. My name is Joey, and today we have a very special guest. Happens to be one of my favorites. Her name is Alessia Cara. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you here. Today, obviously, the focus of our conversation is going to revolve around the album In the Meantime, and it's been out for a hot minute. I just want to let you know that I'm still tossing between two favorites. It's either Lie to Me or
Ooh.
Box in the Ocean.
Yeah, they're definitely two of my favorites. Yeah, I love both of them. They're like super different from each other, but they're both like groovy. So you like the groovy stuff.
I like groovy stuff. But, of course, I also like the stuff that really gets to like the nitty-gritty of emotional content that is usually the focus of what you write about. So there are big promo singles with MVs like Sweet Dream, Best Days. But I want to start our conversation today with a very special song. I'm sure every one of them is special, but this one, Shapeshifter, was recorded in a very special place for you. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I got to write Shapeshifter in this producer named Salam Remy's home/studio, which was conveniently enough for me, which was amazing because I'm a huge fan of hers, the home that Amy Winehouse wrote all of her music as well. So, I mean, that was like the coolest experience ever. I didn't even know that until Salam told me. So it was like, I was like so in shock. I know that he had worked with her in the past. I mean, I'd always wanted to work with Salam because of his work with Amy and, with other artists as well. But Amy's like my number one. And I didn't know until I got there. And he was like, this is where, we did all this stuff together. And I was like, my mind was blown. It was so cool to be in that environment, where they created such beautiful music. So I was very honored to be there.
I totally think that your music and Amy's music do resonate very well. And, one of our favorite or one of the most memorable lines from Amy from that Back to Black album was, of course, you go back to her and I go back to black. It's, it's poignant, it's hopeless, it's even vindictive. And sometimes your music has just a hint of that. So how was she special to you in that music writing sense?
You kind of said it. Like she had this like intense like honesty in her music that was like super unapologetic. It was not sparing of anybody's feelings, not even her own. And it kind of felt like something that you shouldn't even be hearing almost, like it was that personal. And I, for the longest time held back a lot in my writing. Like I was still honest, but I don't think I really got to the core of it because I was either ashamed or fearful of, saying the thing that I needed to say. And honestly, Shapeshifter, it was the first song I ended up writing for this album. And I think kind of being in that environment where she wrote all her music, it really kind of sparked something in me to be as honest as I really wanted to be, despite the fear, despite, potentially hurting someone's feelings. I was like, no, you know what? Like my feelings are hurt. I need to talk about this in the most honest way. And I think she like in a roundabout way inspired me to write that song, because I just thought of her and I was like, well, how would she say this? How would she would just be honest. So I'm just going to be honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat it,
Yeah, good. And okay, so we could talk all about our love for Amy, but mostly Amy was well known for that one album that picked up 5 awards in one night back in 2008. And along the way, there's been, very few artists who can do that. One of them who recently dropped a new album, and she also happens to write from that darker place, from pain. Her name is Adele. So I wonder for you, do you resonate, or the Alessia Cara now, do you resonate with Adele or Amy more?
Ooh, that's a difficult question because they're both like I listened to both of their albums like growing up through my life and I revisit them now. And I think it depends on, I guess, the place that I'm in, because like 21 had this like sense of confidence a little bit, even though it was extremely painful. Like she had this sense of like Set Fire to the Rain is like a song about like having the strength to leave somebody. And so I think when I'm in a place of like feeling a little bit more confident and a little bit more I don't know, like understanding of myself, then I resonate more with Adele. But then when I'm in those moments of feeling like a little bit depressed or a little bit more like what's the word, like I don't know, a little bit more heartbroken, I'll put on Amy when I want to just like get in my feels, But I mean, both of them are just like, I get in my feels with both. I mean, Amy has confident songs too. So it kind of depends, I guess, on the mood or the time in my life.
Okay. So let's continue with the tough questions. This next one Okay, which one do you like better, Christmas or New Year's?
Oh, these are excellent questions. Ah, I'm gonna say probably Christmas because New Year's always makes me cry secretly, even if it's like a great time. Because it's just like I always just think like, oh man, another year's gone. Like I struggle a lot with like getting older, as you could tell. So like every year that goes by, I'm like, oh my God, I like sweat a bit more. I'm like, oh my God, another one down. It makes me really sad. So I'm gonna say Christmas because it's about giving and it's all like nice and fluffy. And New Year's is kind of like the reality check. So I don't like New Year's very much.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I think if we're comparing to musicians, Amy Winehouse would be like New Year's and Adele would be like Christmas. Like there's always a bit of hopefulness in that, you know?
That's very true. Yeah, it's very true. Amy had a lot more questions
Yes.
than answers,
That's
which
true.
I kind of am the same way.
It's like New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah.
Like you turn over to the next year, and the answer you need to, well, the question you need to answer is like, am I actually going to be a better person? And are my resolutions actually going to be fulfilled? And like, there's always a challenge ahead. But Christmas is like magical stuff, you know, Santa Claus, you know, reindeers on pulling a sleigh.
Exactly.
So on December 1st, you'll be performing for a Christmas special, the Christmas in Rockefeller Center. And then on the 5th, you're doing another one, the annual A Home for the Holidays. You'll be performing a song that has, over the last 3 years, since 2019, become more or less of a Christmas classic. The song Make It to Christmas. You'll be performing your new single, your version of Jingle Bell Rock with Amazon. And you will be performing Best Days, which we want to talk about now. Because this song, as we were just comparing Christmas with New Year's Eve, this song is about that melancholy, that sad or empty feeling you get from a New Year's Eve party, right?
Yeah, 100%. I was actually going to mention that earlier. I mean, yeah, that stemmed from that melancholic thought that I was having one particular New Year's. It was like the New Year's going into 2020. So I actually had no idea what was ahead, the real chaos and melancholy that was gonna, be in front of us. But I still was having my usual, bouts of sadness. I think my default tends to be sadness, and my brain always tends to go to that melancholic place, but especially in the new year when everything was like seemingly going really well, and I just had this very like looming thought and feeling that nothing was ever going to be okay again with me, and I just was looking at my life and being like, man, I missed so many great moments because I was just too sad or too stressed, and I'm just like, what if I never have a good day again? And so that song really came from a place of hopelessness, or at least fear of hopelessness, and there's something really scary about feeling like you have nothing left to lose. But I think in that also comes healing if you do it the right way. And when you hit a rock bottom, you're like, well, there's nowhere else to go but just to try to get better, and that's what happened. So that song was kind of like the catalyst for me getting the help that I really needed. So I'm glad that I wrote it.
Alessia, that's crazy. You wrote this before the pandemic hit, which means that the line that goes, you live and you die, but the hardest pill to swallow is the meantime, is eerily prophetic about what's happening in the world.
I know, it's crazy. It's like I had some weird foresight. I don't know if I was getting some sort of intuitive feeling about what was coming, or maybe I was just, I don't know what was going on. It was like some weird energy, but yeah, it's very eerily similar to what ended up happening, just that whole song in general. Even all of us like collectively having to wonder, like, are our best days as a community, or are our best days in general like behind us, because we didn't know what was going to happen. So yeah, it's very eerily on point. Yeah. Very strange.
Crazy. But okay, so much like Adele versus Amy Winehouse, at least there is a glimmer of hope after that, because the line after that, if I remember correctly, is, are the best days just the ones that we survive, right? So today we have Alessia Cara. One last question for you is, how is Cleo?
Oh, she's the best. She's so good. I just saw her today for the first time in a while because I was traveling. So it was awesome to see her again. She's like the best. She's such a pest. Some days she's great, and then the other days she just does what she wants. Today she's doing what she wants.
And she's so big now. Did you think that she was going to get this big?
No, honestly, I wanted her to get even bigger. My dream is to have like a massive dog. Yeah. And so I was just hoping, I was like, grow more, grow more. But I didn't know how big she was going to be, because she was like the smallest in her litter. And like, I didn't get her from a breeder or anything. So the person like didn't know how big she was going to be. So we kind of had no idea, but I definitely didn't expect her. I thought she was gonna be smaller, to be honest. She's big, and her hair is like
Poofy.
makes her even
Yeah.
bigger, which I love. Yeah, but it's funny because my dad, you know, he kind of like it's kind of all of our dogs. She's mine, but like, you know, when I'm gone, my dad watches her, and he was always praying for her to stay small. And every time he was like, I don't think she'll grow anymore. And then she keeps growing. And he's like, okay, this time she's not growing anymore. She just keeps getting bigger. It's my favorite. He's not happy about it. I love it. It's the best.
And they're so good at like telling if you're having a bad day to come and comfort you, to like, you know, resonate with how you're feeling and be one with you. So enjoy your time with Cleo, and we're going to enjoy our time with the album in the meantime. It's been so nice to speak with you. Thank you so much for spending time here with us.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time. You've asked great questions. Thank you. I appreciate it.